What's up everybody, your paint coach here. So now we're finally going to start to learn how to cut in. All we need is our brush, our cut bucket, and the first thing I want to tell you about is not using too much paint dipped on our brush. We're going to use a lot of paint on the brush, but see how I dip it? You only want to dip to that far up the bristles. And so when I brush, I'm just going to start going for it. I never really like to wipe the brush on the side of the bucket first. I like to dip, give a little couple taps on the side of the bucket. And now that all those drips are off and now my brush is loaded, now I can just go for it. So I'm going to start up in this corner. I always like going from left to right, top to bottom. So what I do first is I just put some paint in the corner. I move along the wall, stay about a ½ inch below it, and see all that paint I'm putting on? As soon as the paint starts running out from going like that, I stop. I'll come back. I'll wipe the brush here, kind of go down my corner. Now I'm just spreading the paint right now. All I'm doing is spreading the paint. See that? I'm not trying to get super close right off the bat. I'm just spreading the paint around. And now that my paint has spread, I'm going to take my brush and just kind of work it up in the corner. Just the tip. So what I'm going to do is I'm putting the brush here. See that tip? And then I just kind of move it up. And it'll form itself right into that corner. Watch this. Push it up, move right into the corner, and I'm just going to move it down. See that? Push it up into the corner and then just move it down. So now I'm up in the corner. Now I'm going to take my brush and I'm going to angle it like this. So that way when I'm going this way, I'm going to pick up all this paint and put it right up into the corner. So we're just going to wiggle it up in there. I'm going to find my line and then I'm just going to go. Nice and easy. Remember, we're not getting perfect right now. We're just spreading the paint because we're going to do 2 coats. See that? I run out of paint, I stop. I'm going to turn my brush over, kind of work that paint. I'm going to find my line, and I'm just going to go right back into myself. So now notice the angle. It's all about the angle of the dangle. And like I said, see how that's down a little bit right there? That's fine. We're not going to get perfect right on the first coat. Right now, we're just putting the paint there. This will give us a line, and we're just going to go for it. See that? I'm not trying to get perfect. I'm just spreading the paint around. And the way I hold the brush, and look, that's it. Just that right there. It's kind of wiggly still. First coat, no problem. I hold my brush like this, like a pencil. Some people like to hold it like that. You might have a little more control. I kind of like holding it like this because I could get further distance. And I feel like I have a little more control. You'll find whatever's comfortable. No wrong or right way. So that's how I start. And you don't want to come down too far. As you can see, it's just about a brush width. Because we want to use our roller and get as much as we can with the roller because it's faster. So then I'm going to take my brush. Notice I've only dipped once. I'm going to work it up in here because the paint's already there. It's not dry yet. It ain't going nowhere. And I'm just going to move it down the wall now. You can see I'm not perfect. Watch, see that? Going to work up some paint. Work right back into myself. Boom. Notice the angle. Right down the wall. Bam. Kind of work it in. You always want to feather this bottom edge in so you don't leave any paint rolls. And that is it. And then I'm just going to work down the wall because I always want to go top to bottom. So now I've gone as far as I can here. So now I'm just going to step down my ladder, get a little lower until I can get it from the ground. So I don't have to be on the ladder. Little dip, little tappy tappy. Make daddy happy. Now see this? I'm just going to work it down. Work it up. Just kind of work that paint in there. Now I'm going to find my line. Work the paint to the tip of the brush by just giving a little wiggle, because watch, nothing on the edge, but if you give it a little wiggle, that's where you get your paint. You got to work the paint down the bristle to the tip of the brush. Little wiggle. I'm just going to move it down. And the whole point of this is so we can go farther with less dips in the bucket. See that? Now you put your paint on there, you find your line, and you just freaking drop it like it's hot. See that? I'm just dropping it. Boom. Done. Hit this little spot right there. Work it in. That's it. See that? Now I'm just going to come down my ladder. I'm going to stay at the top because I always want to keep a wet edge. And then I'm going to work up here. Dip my brush. Tappy tappy. Look at all that paint. Dip. Tappy tappy. Look at all that paint I have on my brush. You got to paint with paint. So I'm just going to spread this paint. Watch this. Look how far I'm going. See that? Spread the paint. I know I got more over here, so now I'm going to work it. See all that? Now I'm gonna work the paint up the bristle, find my line, and just go for it. And don't stop. When you start running out of paint, kind of come back. And it's all about the angle. See that? I'm just picking up this paint. I'm going for it. You can turn your brush because now I've worked this way. So I've got the paint working down the brush. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip it, give it a little wiggle. Now I'm going to use that paint from the other side to finish my cut. See that? You're not worrying about anything else except that top line. Boom. And we were just going for it. See how much ground I'm covering? Working it back. I know I'm good over here. I need to make this a little closer, so I'm just going to pick up this paint. I'm low, and now I'm going to go high. Put a little pressure. Boom. Just like that. I'm going to work this edge, feather it in, is what we call it, and that's it. Just going to keep going on the top now. Now I got this bull nose taped off, and I'll show you how to brush that in too. Okay, so now we've worked that way, and we're just going to keep going along the top. Little dip, tappy tappy. Got all that paint on my brush, and now I'm just going to spread the love. Look at that. We're trying to cover ground here. See that? Nice and long strokes. You don't want to short stroke it. I'm going to work that paint up at that angle. So I don't want to hold it like this. I'm holding it here so I can work the tip of that bristle up into that corner. If I'm here, I can hit the ceiling like that. I just want to hold a nice angle, and as I'm going, I can move my brush however I need to get the paint. It's because right now we're just picking up paint. See that? We're just picking up paint, and I'm just going for it. I know I'm not hitting everything, but I'm getting paint on. Turn my brush around, and now I got plenty of paint. I'm finding my line, and it's just nice and easy, nice and steady. And look how much ground we're covering. We're not doing a bunch of little short jabs. We're finding our line, and we are just long stroking. Just like that. Nice long strokes, use plenty of paint. It's all about the angle of the dangle. I got a little crack right here. I'm just gonna fill her up. Boom. And look it, I'm not going super far down. I'm just working that edge, and that's it. That's it, right there. See that? Look how far we went. We probably went about, I don't know, 4 feet. And we're not doing a bunch of little dabby dabbies. We're just putting the paint on, we're spreading it, and then we're just running our line, just like that. We're using plenty of paint. Remember, you gotta paint with paint. Here we go. We're just doing it again. So now that I'm getting close to this edge, I'm gonna run my paint here, run a little bit down. It's gonna get kind of complicated here, but we're just gonna work our way around it. Dip our paint, little tappy tappy. Got plenty of paint on my brush, and I'm just running with it. See that? Now I got tons of paint on my brush, so what I could do is I could wipe it. Now that's all good paint that I could use to paint over here. See that? Remember, I'm gonna work into the corner. We're gonna put the heel of the brush to that point and just kind of work it in the corner. See? Heel of the brush, kind of give it a little wiggle, and it'll work itself right up where we want it to. Boom. I'm gonna put my brush, I'm gonna work my paint up a little bit. See all this paint that I got? Kind of at an awkward position here so you guys can see what's going on, but just gonna work this paint. Got a little crack on the ceiling, which is fine. We could always come back and caulk that when we paint the ceiling. Right now I'm worried about not getting any paint on it. Work on my way this way. Now I'm gonna switch hands here so I can get this. Push it right up in there. Just move right along the ceiling. And remember, this is the first coat. When we come back with the second coat is when we'll make our line super straight. Right now we just want to get paint on there. See that? That's done. I'm going to work this edge. Smooth all that out. Now I got all this paint to work with here. We're just going to move right up into that corner. Look at that. Right there. Now I'm out of paint. I'm not going to dry brush because watch. Now you see how smooth we've been going and how easy it's been working? When you start running out of paint, that's when you really got to start working it, because that's dry brushing. See that? Then you got to work it real hard to fill in those gaps. Keep plenty of paint on your brush so you don't have to work so hard. Now we're just gonna move on down. I got plenty of paint on my brush. Now this is gonna get in the way, so I'm just gonna kind of switch hands. You could always take that off if you want to. I'm just gonna work around it. No big deal. Nice and easy. Like that. Just like that. Now I got plenty of paint. I'm just gonna work down this wall. Get up into my corner. Drop it like it's hot. Turn my brush, work back up into myself. Boom. Kind of get a little closer here. Just like that. Work that in. I'm gonna hit this a little bit so I don't have to roll too close. Just like that. All right. So now that I got all the top done, I got my wet edges. Now I'm gonna start over here, and I'm just gonna finish working my edge down, then I'm gonna go along the bottom, okay? So when we do down our edges, if you wanna get over here, you'll be able to see, now I got plenty of paint. I'm gonna just brush down like this. And this is what I'm talking about being agile with your bucket. See, everywhere I go, my bucket goes and it stays level. Hoo, ha, ha. Get some paint. I got plenty of paint on the wall now. Now I'm just gonna work my angle like that. See that? That angle, you're just right here. You don't wanna get right up on it. You just wanna hold it away and work your brush into that corner. So I'm just gonna hit it here and then just drop it. See that? Come back up into it. Nice and easy. Now I'm gonna straighten it out. Just like that. And that's it. Just like that. And then we're just gonna feather in that edge. Same thing here. I'll show you how to brush when we're gonna hit this tape. Because just because the tape is there doesn't mean we want to flood the paint. So we're just gonna work it like that. Plenty of paint, making it straight. So now watch, if you want to come over here, when we're brushing on the ground or on the baseboard, I got my tape, but just because the tape is there doesn't mean we want to flood the paint. So when I'm doing this, I got tons of paint on the brush. I'm just gonna, because now I'm down here, I don't have to worry about cutting in. So I'm gonna use a bunch of paint. I'm gonna freaking load it up like that. And I'm just gonna start about 1 inch above, and I'm just gonna work the paint like this. Look at those nice long strokes. So now that I got all my paint worked on top of that tape, then I'm gonna take my brush and I'm just gonna work it. Just nip the tip on that tape. And I'm just using the tip of the brush like that to fill it in. So I'm just working it, using the tip of the brush real lightly, like that, feathering it in. Because I got plenty of paint, and I'm just feathering it in. And we're doing this because we're trying to go fast. Look at that. See how fast that was and how much length we got? That's what you want. When it comes to the plugs, I'm just gonna work with that paint that I had, and I'm just gonna kind of work it in like that because we're gonna use our roller to get real close. See that? That's it. Done. Bink. That's it. And we're just gonna keep moving this way. And same thing. Just working this. Nice and sleazy. Put plenty of paint. I'm here to the bull nose, so I'm just gonna hit the bottom real quick, and I'll show you how we're gonna paint the bull nose because we also want to feather that in too. We don't want to use a ton of paint. So right now I'm just gonna finish cutting this in. Tons of paint. Spread it real quick. See how I'm spreading it? Now I'm just gonna turn. Feather that in. And while we're doing this, we're dry brushing right here on the bottom because we don't want paint flooding that tape line. So we're just gonna go nice and sleazy like that. I'm gonna dry brush this a little bit because I don't want this paint bleeding through that tape. See that? Nice and easy. Just gonna hit this real quick. Nice and easy. spreading my paint, then I'm just gonna feather it in. I'm gonna move my brush right into that corner like how we did at the top. Move the paint down my brush, just like that. That's good. Now I'm just gonna use the paint that's on my brush, because while I'm painting, the paint is gonna move down this way. See that right there? So instead of getting more paint, I'm just gonna use this. I'm gonna get all that paint out of my brush, feather it in, feather that in, light as a feather. Boom, and now my brush is clean. See that? I don't have a ton of paint moving down. I'm clean. My hands are zero paint on my hands. That's what we want. All right, now I'm gonna finish this. Plenty of paint. I'm just gonna finish this corner. Start right here, work my way into it. Nice and easy. See that? I'm just moving the paint that I put on there. I'm just moving it into the corner, dropping it like it's hot, working it back up. The paint is there, now I just gotta move it. See that? The paint is there. Now I just gotta get the tip, take it where I want it to go, bam. And remember, you don't have to be perfect on the first coat. And we're just gonna feather that in, work our way up, keep a wet edge, and that is it. Now let's do the bull nose real quick. And the trick about here, or the trick with this is what you wanna do. I've already taped this off. Now all I wanna do is take my brush, all I'm gonna do is take my brush, I'm gonna get some paint, and the second coat, we'll just use our roller for this, but that first seal that we're wanting to do, we're wanting to put a paint seal around this edge that we've taped off. So I'm just gonna take my brush, I'm gonna start a little bit away from it, like that. Start a little bit away, get all my paint worked out. Then I'm gonna take my brush and I'm just gonna kind of lightly hit it like that, going away from the tape. See that? I'm going away from the tape because I want to go this way because that'll push paint underneath the tape. So I want to work away from the tape. See that? I'm just dabby, work away from the tape. Start here, I'm working away. Away from the tape, nice and light. We're just making a seal here. See that? Never break the seal, right? Here we go. And then this, I'm not gonna be able to roll there, so I'm just gonna dip my brush. Got tons of paint, and I'm just gonna freaking long stroke it. See that? And then I can feather it in. Turn my brush, feather it in, spread my paint. Get that paint out of my brush. I never want this to get all globbed up. So if it's ever getting globbed up right here, work it off the wall. Now I got a clean brush to work with. See that? Then I'm just gonna feather it in. Feather it in. I got plenty of paint. I'm just gonna work it because it's worth it. Just work it in like that. Put my thing down, flip it, and reverse it. That's what I'm talking about. Boom. Now I'm gonna get some more paint. Nice and light. I'm staying away from the edge of that tape. I'm just spreading the love. And now I'm just gonna go away. See that? Spread the love, work away from the tape. Work away from the tape. Just like that. Same thing over here. Take my paint. I'm not wiping on the edges. I'm just doing a little tappy. I got plenty of paint. I'm gonna work it on that wall, staying away from the tape. Stay away from the tape. Look how much ground I'm covering. See that? You don't want to be sitting here going like this. Cover some ground, baby. Put that thing on there. Look at that. Long strokes. Now I'm taking here. I'm going to work away from the tape. Just like that. See that? Work away from the tape. My paint's on there. I'm good to go. I'm working away from the tape so it doesn't bleed. And when I pull this tape, you'll see how straight this line is. Now I'm just going to feather in that edge. We don't want any rolls. Boom. That fast. Hit this right here, right down the edge. Spreading my paint. Away from the tape. away from the tape. See that? Nice and easy, feathering it in. Now I know I'm good there. Know I'm good. Hit this last part. Plenty of paint. There we go. Spread the love. Look at that. Spreading the love, and now I'm just going to work my way away. Away from the tape. Feather it in. Just like that. And that's it. Feather that in. Done there. Go just like that. And boom, baby. That's it. Now ready to get our roll on. Everything's cut in. It was fast. It was easy. It was comfortable. Now let's get our roll on. Here we go.